Let's move on, because the next game for Arsenal is, of course, against Spurs. How are you looking ahead to that one?
It looks after itself. That's the good thing about it. But they've got... The problem is, if Man City go and beat Newcastle before, it's 2 points. 2 points, same games. They're playing 2 London derbies coming up against their 2 biggest rivals in London, in Tottenham and Chelsea. The momentum swings completely the other way. Completely. You could say London derby, North London derbies go out the window. You know, it's just that game. It don't matter if you're top of the league or 15th or wherever. It's a leveller. New manager comes in. He'll have them running around, running through brick walls. And Arsenal ain't playing well enough to, in my opinion, to blow Tottenham away. And I think this will go down. I really think this league title race will go down to whoever plays first in the Premier.
Well, after that draw, this is where Arsenal are currently in the Premier League table. Still top of the table, 5 points clear of Manchester City, but of course have played that game extra and are still yet to face each other as well, which comes on to the next point of the remaining fixtures. We're finally at that stage of the season now where we can get all of the fixtures onto the same page. But in terms of what's to come compared to Manchester City, how do you see this?
You know, it's all about... Football's all about timings. You play teams at certain times in the league, do you know what I mean? Like, you can look down here at West Ham, they're 18th in the league, but that might be their game, that they're fighting for survival, or they might have won 5 on the trot and they're middle of the table and they're safe and they're on holiday. You just don't know with the timings of the games. Like, Aston Villa could already be in the top 4, cemented, might be in the Europa final, and they're done, do you know what I mean? And that game's not as hard as what it looks on paper. So it's difficult. You know, I always look at the next 2. Arsenal have got Chelsea and Tottenham. They are 2 very difficult games. More so, no disrespect to Newcastle and Leeds. You take Newcastle and Leeds over Spurs and Chelsea. Start with.
Yeah, and I think Merson is exactly right. And I know we're going to go on to another slide in a minute, but the big thing I always go off is past experiences and how teams finish. And we know how Manchester City finish. I know we're going to show something in a minute, but we know how they finish. We know how Pep Guardiola finishes, and this obviously shows what we're talking about now. And he is an absolute monster at finishing strong, Pep Guardiola, and that's what I go off. I go off experiences, and I keep mentioning about Man City being sat at home, but they'll be sat at home now looking at this going, yeah, this is a bit of us. So, yeah, we look at this here and how they finish seasons. It's unbelievable the way they do it.
Yeah, this is just demonstrating the amount of points won by both Arsenal and Manchester City over the last 4 Premier League seasons in the last 12 games. Of course, different teams. You can argue whether Manchester City have got the same team as what they've had the last couple of seasons. But when you look at that, you speak about the experience. They're going to need to get this momentum, aren't they? Because they don't want the same thing to happen where City are having such a strong end to the season and Arsenal can't keep up.
Well, I wouldn't want to be in Arsenal's shoes if it happens again. I mean, I was quite shocked with the interview of Arteta then. First time, really, I've seen him not majorly positive. Do you know what I mean? Usually he comes out, you know, we've done this, we've done that, and he's saying, oh, we deserve the hit, we deserve the hit. You know, instead of coming out and going, we're 5 points clear, as long as we don't get beat by Man City, we go same as them, we win the league. Wasn't like that. Even he was a bit... I was a bit worried with that interview. Even he's finding it now and he's thinking, wow... You can only do the team so much, and when you're watching that, there's something missing. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something missing. And if I had to highlight something, I would highlight what Marnie did to the 3 lads, Madueke, Martinelli, Saka. He brings the ball down and he just literally turns away from them. First half, or 7, 9, 10 games ago, they take the ball off him and they're up the pitch and it's a counter-attack. Something's missing. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes if they don't win the league this year, because if they ain't winning the league this year, you know, I remember Patrick Vieira saying before the Man United game when he was on with Roy Keane, he said now or never. And I'm starting to think now. I was very bullish about Arsenal winning the league. That's half scared me tonight.
If you're playing that dressing room tonight and you're looking ahead to the next couple of games, of course, you've got North London derby coming up at the weekend. How important is the reaction now?
It's important for leaders within the dressing room. I know there's a lot of leaders in that dressing room. Bukayo obviously come out and spoke. We've also got Gabriel, Saliba, obviously Odegaard's behind the scenes now as well, being injured. It's about leaders stepping forward, about leaders standing up strong, going in tomorrow, wiping the floor with it, going, right, that's gone now. The next one is the big one, which is a big one for Arsenal. It's absolutely massive. And then after that, there's another big one. So we're talking about two massive ones coming up for Arsenal now. And it's important they dust themselves down, they get themselves going, they look at where they went wrong tonight, because I think a lot's gone wrong tonight for Arsenal, and really put it to bed then for Sunday, because, like I said, two real big games coming up.
OK, well...
Mikel, in honesty, does that feel self-inflicted tonight?
Yeah, it's very tough to accept it, but yeah, the second half we didn't perform at any level in any aspect of the game at the standards that are required to win a game in the Premier League, and we paid the price.
Do you understand why? I mean, I know it's only a few minutes after the game.
There was too many things that went wrong. It was one after the other, basically, and we never got any dominance or control of the game. We scored the second one goal and it's still there. So it's better not to judge it. We are all too emotional about it, and it's not the moment to do it. It's a moment when you don't perform and you are at this level and expectations are where they are. Is now you have to take the hit because as well we deserve it.
I remember you saying after the Manchester United game, this is a moment for being close to the players, almost for looking after them. Would you reiterate that message now? Would you feel a bit differently tonight?
No, exactly the same. And there is not. It's very easy now when you're emotion to start to say things that can damage the team, and that's the ultimate and the worst decision that you can make, because everybody wants to do their best. Nobody questions that. Today we're at the level, at the races, and at the standards that are required. And when you do that, and you want to be at this level, you have to take the hits.
You also spoke after that Manchester United game about enjoying the situation, the position that you've worked really hard to get in. Do you still have a sense that the players aren't doing that right now? You're not enjoying the position you've earned?
But the enjoyment comes from moments of suffering as well. If you believe that you come to any ground in the Premier League and you don't have to go through tough periods, that's not the reality. So enjoyment comes as well from those moments when you're not at the best. Okay, get through and find a way to do that. And today, at the end, in the last minute, we pay the price.
And when you're talking about things missing, are you talking about application, effort, those sorts of... Is it much more quality?
None of that. I've never seen that in this team. There are many other aspects that you have to do. Very basic things, simple things, much better than we've done if you want to really dominate the game and bring the margins that there should be between the two teams.
Yeah, talking of margins, are you concerned in general over the course of a few games now that when you're getting into dominant positions, like 2-0 tonight, the Brentford game, the Man United game, you're getting into these strong positions and then you're letting teams back in? Has that been going on for a little while now?
Depends, because against Leeds it didn't happen. But whatever it says or judge on, you have to accept it, because today we need to be very critical with ourselves. In the second half, it wasn't good enough, that's clear.
What about the form in general, Mikel? It's 2 wins in 7, starting with that Liverpool game. Is that a concern, or have you seen enough good bits in and around it, some of the cup performances, to not be too concerned?
Well, in the league, that's the numbers and that's the reality, that we haven't been as consistent as we've been in the first few months. You put the cups in between, that's a different story. So, yeah, whatever the stats say now, when you don't perform at the level that is required, you have to accept them.
How big a test is it ahead now for the whole club, but for you, for the team, to get this title challenge back on track? You're top, of course.
Now you have to stand up when they have a moment of difficulty, and we feel really frustrated with ourselves. You have the perfect game against the Spurs away to go and show how much we want it and how good we are. That's it. That's what we have to do. Talk on the pitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get some reaction then. From a Wolves perspective, let's hear from the manager, Rob Edwards. He's with Patrick Davison.
Well, Rob, it hasn't been easy. So how special a moment was that for you and your players?
Yeah, it was a great moment. It was a good night for the football club. It was only a draw, but to come back from 2-0 down against one of the best teams in Europe is it's a pretty special result for us, and a really good performance as well.
What does it show?
It shows that we're fighting. I said that before. I think that was about 3 defeats. I think that was 3 defeats in 11 games for us. So we're not doing that bad. So a narrative about us at the moment. We're not giving up, and I don't, we know the position that we're in. We know what could happen, but we're never going to give up. We'll keep fighting. all the way to the end of the 38th game, and we're showing that.
And how special is it to see the stadium like that? Because it hasn't been an easy season for them, and at times it didn't feel like it was going to be an easy night for them tonight either.
No, and I think nights like this, I just hope everyone has a little bit of realism and understands what we're up against as well. We're not just going to turn up and roll Arsenal over easily, so it's never going to be easy, especially when you go 1-0 down early on. So yeah, would have liked probably a little bit more backing at that point, if I'm being honest. But the way we finished, the energy was around, and it was a brilliant feeling.
Sorry, just to clarify, would have liked a bit more backing from the supporters at moments tonight.
I just think we've got to realise what we're up against in that moment at that time as well. And the lads are fighting hard, but Arsenal are really good. So it's not just a case of come on, like you can't just roll those teams over or step onto them straight away. And I think it was a really good performance. We were controlled in the early parts, especially after going 1-0 down. We didn't lose our heads. And then began to really step forward and took control for long periods then as well. So, really, really proud of the players tonight.
Do some of those fan reactions, though, show how kind of delicate things are? They've watched their team not win pretty much all season. You're planning for next season as well, which must be pretty difficult for the supporters.
Yeah, it certainly does. But like I said, then with 3 defeats in 11, we are showing a lot of fight. We are, you trace it back a long, long time now. The lads are trying. So we want to try and build some momentum and a connection and a togetherness around the place. So I can understand. I've said it from day one. I understand the frustration and the anger and everything else has been.
That tonight, on the back of what you did Sunday in those conditions, could be maybe a line in the sand moment.
Look, I don't know. All we're going to do is focus on the next thing, and I don't know whatever people think, or that's not in our control. All we can do is work really hard, try and bottle that feeling that we had in the dressing room when we came in at the end. I know we didn't win, but when you're 2-0 down against a team like that, it felt like it. It's a really good energy around. We've got to try and bottle that and maintain it and keep going and keep getting better. We still made mistakes tonight. The 2 goals were poor, really poor. We've got to be better in those moments, but there's always going to be learning for us. So lots of work to do, but we are getting better.
And sorry to push on this, because I know you've just got a really good result, but was it anything in particular that upset you with the fan reaction? I didn't know if I heard some booing of Jose Sarr early on. There was the cheering of a substitution as well.
No, I don't want to make a big headline out of it either now, so I know you're going to push on it.
Yeah,
no,
I don't think I've helped.
No, listen, the fans are well within their rights to feel hurt and angry this year, and I get it, and I've said that, maintained it a lot. But during the game, it's going to help us. It's going to help the players if they've got that, their backing, and it was there at the end. And I know then it's down to us to perform, But also we're up against Arsenal at the moment, who are top of the league, who are really difficult to score against, really difficult to play against. Top of the Champions League, wherever that qualifying was. I watched them what they did to Bayern Munich. They're an unbelievable football team. For us to do that tonight is very, very special.
Let's end on a positive, Rob, because you sent a young lad on for his Premier League debut, his Wolves debut. And he's just got the equaliser. What a special moment.
Yeah. Sometimes, we have a feeling on the bench, and he's done well in training, young Tom. Obviously, we've got a thinner squad now as well, so there's going to be opportunities for the younger players. He took his moment, a really special moment for him.
Well done.
Thanks, Patrick. Cheers.
Well done.
Nice one.
Quite an interesting interview, actually, there from Rob Edwards. What did you make of the comments that he said about the fans, first of all?
Yeah, really interesting. And listen, he's a real passionate guy, Rob, really passionate guy, and he'll be seeing improvements in his team. And I mentioned before the game about kind of the job he's doing, the plan he's put in place, and he's obviously felt something within the game tonight where he's not been happy with the supporters. Now, we've all played in front of fans when it's been tough. I certainly have last season when I was at Leicester. It was a real tough place to be, and sometimes you can get your back up about certain things that go on, but then also when you take a step back a few days later, you go, what are the fans actually feeling from the season? Now, Wolves haven't had a great season, so the fans have got the frustrations in terms of the season. But when you just come off a pitch, you know what it's like as well, mate. You're all emotional, you're listening to things in the crowd. And I think that's what it is. Like I said, I love Rob to bits. I think he's fantastic, and I think he's doing a good job. So he'd have felt something there in the game that he's gone. I need to say something there. But I think it's quite an emotional interview, and I think it's something where he's finished on a good one, speaking about, obviously, young Tomadozi. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are the kind of games that he will want to see, that development, that improvement from his team, if they are going to be playing in the Championship next season.
Yeah, 100%. But I just hope that interview don't come back to bite him. You've got to keep the fans on your side. These fans have been coming and watching a bad team all season. He's just turned it around now. That don't happen overnight. they're frustrated. It costs a lot of money to watch a Premier League game. You know, it's not free. They're not paying for them to go there. They have their opinion. You've got to bite your tongue. You cannot say that. You just had an unbelievable result. Just take it. Have a nice night. Now the fans will be on his back now. I just... They're one of them moments. You get in the... Everybody says something, you know, they shouldn't say. I've said it a million times. But you get in that room and you think, you could feel himself trying to dig him out at times. He thought, no, I shouldn't have said that, really. And he shouldn't. He's had a brilliant result. He's done a great job. And it's clever what they're doing. You know, they got rid of Lars and they're bringing in players for next season. And as he said, 3 in 11 they've lost. 3 in 11, which is some doing. So I hope so. I hope he's all right. But I just think sometimes you learn from experiences. And I think he's just got to...
Yeah.